Welcome, Boiling Steam readers. I'm here with a review of the Corsair HS70 Pro headset. And what I want to do first is a little bit of a audio comparison. So on one side I have my Yeti Blue, which is what I use for recording podcasts, and of course is a much higher end recording device, but just as a quick comparison to the Corsair headset mic. I have the headset mic pretty close to mouth, so it picks it up. I'm not talking too loudly. Of course, if you were a heavy breather or like to get rather vocal when you're gaming, you might want to move it away from the mouth a little bit. But I find this works well for picking up the volume, not too much other noise, and comes across pretty clearly. Not bad for a headset mic, but of course not on the same level as a dedicated recording one like a Yeti mic. While I have you here, I might as well kind of go through a little bit of what I cover in the article. For all the details, please take a look at boilingsteam.com. So one thing that happened when I was looking for a headset in the spring was finding out it's kind of unclear what will work on Linux. Obviously, analog stuff should work fine. Bluetooth is Bluetooth for what that's worth. But otherwise, it's a little bit ambiguous when it comes to kind of USB wireless headsets in particular, because often you might think they might use some proprietary drivers or at least some software effects, while standard USB audio is generally a pretty good bet. Even then, you never know when you might come across one that decides to use their own funky driver. So I took a little bit of a gamble getting the Corsair HS70. There were some mixed reports online, even though it's a very popular headset, so that was a little bit surprising that no one had written anything about it. But plugged it in and it worked great on Linux. No problems with it coming up as a standard audio device, nothing special you have to do. But of course, you lose out on any of the Windows software that Corsair likes to put. So just a quick overview of the Corsair HS70 Pro. The hardware, I got it in black, comes in a few different colors. It's solid, it's got a metal headband with some cushioning, thick ear cups. It's solidly built, no creaking. Things move where they're supposed to in terms of the adjustments for the headband and the head cups swiveling slightly, along with tilting to adjust your ear. But of course, wireless headsets are a little bit heavy, so I do find them a little bit more fatiguing, depending on the position you get. Sometimes I have to play around with a bit. But overall, comfortable. Definitely worn it for many hours without any problem. Hardware controls is a strong point of the Corsair headset. Has a nice volume knob on the left side along with the mute button, and on the other side has the power button. And those are very handy to use at all times. I find myself using the hardware controls over any software controls on the computer usually, just quicker. The audio quality, the Corsair headset I find to be quite nice. It's obviously meant more as a multimedia or gaming headset, so it's not like a studio monitor or very flat response. It's tuned to be a bit more fun sounding, for lack of a better word. But it sounds nice for watching YouTube videos, playing games, occasionally listening to music is what I use it for generally. But mostly I use it when I'm playing games, so I have the game audio, or sometimes with chatting with friends on Discord, and it works pretty well. It's also a closed ear, so sound leakage is pretty minimal unless you get really up close or you have them really loud, versus open ear headphones. And like any powered headset, you will hear a little bit of hissing when it's on. Nothing really can do to avoid that, but I don't know if they're just sitting on your head, you might as well just turn them off. As for the microphone, well, we did a little check, and you can hear it now, or compared to the Yeti earlier. The microphone itself, what I really like is it moves quite easily, so you can adjust it, move it closer, further away, or just get it out of your kind of peripheral vision. And also it just comes off as looks like a standard 1/8" audio jack, which is really nice. I like to unplug it when I'm not using it, just to not have it hanging around or in my field of view. As for battery and wireless, it's rated at 16 hours. I don't know if I get quite that, but I haven't done a strong measurement. I tend to listen to lower volumes, but I do leave it on sometimes, forget it on, or just in between things and just leave it on, so that, of course, will drain the battery a little bit more. But charges to standard USB micro. You can listen while you're charging, which is nice, and the cable's reasonably long. Minor point is that the low battery warning comes on pretty early. It's kind of annoying. I don't know any way to turn it off. I think even in Windows software, you don't have that choice. But the wireless strength is great, connects instantly for me. No dropouts or any audio problems at all when using near my computer or walking around. The range is a little bit hard for me to measure based on kind of the layout of my house, but anywhere in the room or nearby is fine. Within 10 feet easily works quite well. Between floors, generally fine until I hit some dead spots, but not something I do too much of. All right, so for software, and this is where we get to general headsets on Linux. Corsair likes to use their IQ software for turning on their lights and doing effects and all that kind of stuff. Doesn't work on Wine at all for me. I don't think anyone else had any luck with it. I don't care about software audio effects and fake surround and all that. I think it sounds pretty terrible. If I wanted to, I could just use a dedicated program for that. So nothing special you can do. There's no lights or anything like that. The only thing that's missing is being able to check the battery level or be able to control the side tone volume so you can hear yourself, which can be nice. So you get a sense of how loud you are. If you just want to hear your voice, it's a little bit more natural since the headphones tend to isolate a little bit from the outside sound. That's where we hit a nice Linux utility headset control, which is on GitHub. It supports a bunch of Logitech and Corsair and other headsets. It lets you do things like check the battery, turn off the LED or adjust them, set the side tone volume. Works great for the Corsair. They recently added it, so it's official in there. And that's also, I think, one of the few ways I've found you can see if a headset will work in Linux, just because if it's supported on headset control, presumably all the audio stuff works. But otherwise, have not found any good resources for headsets in case you run into any driver audio problems. So maybe they all work fine, but there's no way to know without doing some random searching or sticking to analog or Bluetooth headsets. So that's about it for me. Corsair HS70 Pro, great headset, wireless, comfortable, sounds good, works really well. It doesn't look flashy and weird, so I'm happy to use it for normal day-to-day conferencing and things like that. And it works great on Linux. So for the full details, take a look at my review on boilingsteam.com, and see you next time.